Hello, this is Mrs. Liborio, and I wanted to show you how to log on to the practice STAAR test. This is what it's going to look like when you go on the real STAAR test in April and May. And this is also what it might look like if you are taking the interim, if you're practicing with that or taking that. So I wanted to show you some of the differences between what the STAR test will look like with what you've been using, which is Eduphoria. So this link will be, your teacher will give you the link. And then if you're logging onto the interim, they will give you a password and a number that you will type in. So you'll follow their directions and type that in. This one I'm going to show you, it's different. It doesn't have a login. So this is just going to show you how to practice and some of the features that it has. So we're going to just click sign in. And then we're going to select 4th grade for this video. And then I'm going to click on the first blue box. And I'm going to click on this top left that says Start 2022 STAAR Redesign Grade 4 Reading Practice Test. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn on content language supports just to show you what that looks like for the students that get that. If you don't get that, then just ignore that part. And then down here, I'm going to turn on spelling assistance to show you what that looks like for students who get that. And if you get the questions read, you would turn this one on if you're practicing. Okay, it's going to ask you to test the sound.
This text is being read aloud.
And then you just click continue. Oops, I heard the voice. Okay, so now I'm going to click begin test now. Okay, so the first passage, as you can see, the passage is on the left, and you're going to scroll down just like you would on Eduphoria. So the passage is over here. Now, one difference that you'll notice is there's a little hamburger. Some people call this the hamburger menu. Kind of looks like a hamburger. So you click on this little menu, and if you click, let's say you want to highlight something. Let's say you wanted to highlight these words right here. You would highlight the words, and then you click on the little menu and you would click highlight, and you can pick your color, yellow, orange, mint green, or lavender. Okay, and then if you want to highlight the words in the question, let's say you wanted to highlight includes as a keyword. You would click on the hamburger menu over here, and then you would click on highlight, see the little highlighter, and then you can pick your color. I'm going to do mint green. And so those are the different menus. You also see, just like on Eduphoria, you can flag the question, mark for review. You can do a sticky note, which is kind of like the electronic notes that you used in Eduphoria. You can have it read you the question, read you the answer choices. If you get the questions read to you, then this will show up here. You can reset your highlighting, which kind of clears your highlighting. And you can do a strike through, which basically eliminates or crosses out the answers that you know are definitely not the answers, like the no way, that's not the answer. So I'm going to kind of show you some of these tools. And you can also skip around on the real STAAR test, not on the interim, but on the real STAAR test. And when you practice this with your teacher, you will be able to skip around. So I'm going to kind of take you through and show you some of these tools. So this is mark for review. See how it made a flag? And then if I want to take that off, I can unmark it. Okay, and then sticky notes. Let's look at that. So this is one thing that I really love about the real STAAR test is the sticky note. You can actually move it around, and it's nice and big and easy to type. So let's say you wanted to put your text evidence as paragraph 2. You could type P2. If you wanted to write why you put that answer, you could jot a few words in this box. Just make sure that you don't click the X. If you click the X, it will delete it. I'm going to show you what that would do. Okay, see how it deleted it? So what you would want to do is click Save and Close. Okay. Now, if I click on Sticky Note, it will remember what I typed there, and I can even add to it. So let's say I wanted to add the word south, and then I could do Save and Close. And anytime you want to pull that up, you just click Sticky Notes, and there it is. And you can move it around. I believe you can play around with the size. But the main thing that I like is that you can save and close, and it gets out of the way. Okay, so let's look at Speak the Question. Oh, that's okay. So that one is, let me try that again.
Based on lines 8 and 10, what can the reader conclude about cowboy?
Okay, so
Option A.
Okay, it keeps
He knows
reading.
a lot about growing turnips. Option B.
And then
Husband and
stop speaking. So it's going to keep reading it. And if you want it to stop, you would just click that stop button and it stops speaking. Now, if I click Speak Options,
Option A. He knows a lot about growing turnips.
okay, so it'll only read option A, and then I would have to click Speak Option.
Option C. He is familiar with the land around him.
So what I just learned is you have to click Speak Option. Option means answer. So Speak Option means you're speaking the options of the answers, and you have to click on each one for it to speak. Or Speak Question.
Based on lines 8 and 10, what can the reader conclude about cowboy? Option A. He knows a lot about growing turnips.
So if you click Speak Question, it will read you the question and all the answer choices. But let's say you do that and then you want to go back and listen to B again. That's when you could do Speak Option, and then you could just click B.
Option B. He works for the husband and wife.
Okay, and then let's see what else. Speak Selection. It's only going to do Speak Selection. Selection is like the passage. So it's only going to do Speak Selection if it is allowed to be read, which remember is only going to be the revising passage. It will not read you the reading passage or the editing passage. Okay, so that's how you do that. And strike through. Let's look at that one. Okay, so strike through. I'm moving my mouse, and then I guess if I click, it strikes that one out. And let's say I knew it was not A or C, for example. So I struck out those two answers. And if I click it again, it takes me back to the strike through. And I believe you can click, let me see. One thing I'm wondering is how to unstrike it. You click it again, I believe. Let me see. You can still select it even if it's, we'll have to play around with that. But basically that's the strike through. And I think there's also a tutorial here if you ever need help. If you click on that, it'll give you the directions of what you're supposed to do in this section. Okay. All right. So over here, you can reset the highlighting. And there's also the dictionary, just like you're used to. So if you click on the dictionary, it'll pop up. And then let's say you didn't know the word conclude. You could type that word in the dictionary, and then you click on the blue word. So you can practice doing that, and it'll tell you the definition. And remember, it depends on how it's being used in the sentence. What can the reader conclude about cowboy? Would that mean come to an end, form an opinion, decide by reasoning, or bring about as a result? In this sentence, they're asking you, what can you conclude about cowboy? What do you know about cowboy? So that's going to be a definition too. So it depends on how it's used, but it'll give you all the definitions. Okay, the notepad is a new thing that's not in Eduphoria. The notepad is if you wanted to jot or take some notes on the passage. Let's say you wanted to write that it was fiction, or that it was, this one looks like nonfiction. So let's say you wanted to write that it was nonfiction. You wanted to write something about maybe one word for each paragraph, like a hashtag, and then what that paragraph was mostly about. This is where you could jot. And if you click save and close, what's neat about this is if you go to a different question and you click notepad, it's the same notepad. So it goes with you throughout the whole story and you can keep adding to it. So that would be good to use if you like to use this to jot. If you're more like showing evidence for your answer, I would just use the sticky note. So sticky note is just going to go with that question. Notepad will go with the whole passage. And then line reader, you can, okay, so line reader, you basically, it gives you a line on the page and you can move it down. I don't really know how to use the line reader, but I can practice and learn how to do it. That's why we're giving you guys time to practice. Okay, and then there's zoom in and zoom out. And then to go to the next, this is also something, if you wanted to look at the whole passage, you can do that to make it bigger. If you get content language supports, those are going to look like a box instead of a dotted line. So for example, you might click on that word and it's going to give you a synonym or a simpler vocabulary word. Sometimes it might give you a picture, but usually it's going to give you a simpler word to understand what you're reading. Okay, and then you click this arrow and it goes back to make it bigger. So let's say you wanted to skip to the next passage. You would go to question 8 and you would click on this green next button. And it'll say you have not answered one or more parts of the question. Click yes to go to the next question or no to stay on this page. I'm going to say yes because I'm going to go back to that section later. Maybe you want to just preview what the test is. So this looks like another reading passage. And you're going to see that it asks some of the new question types. So you might see multiple choice, and you might see part A, part B. Here's a short constructed response. We know that because it says, why did Nia choose to be in the same clubs with Marley in the past? Support your answer with evidence from the story. Whenever it says evidence, that means you're going to give RAC. You're going to restate an answer and you're going to cite. So this would be worth 2 points. If it's an essay, remember it'll have those bullet points and it'll tell you to write an informational composition or essay. So you're going to see all the different question types as you go through this practice test with your teacher. So I'm just going to show you some of those. And here you'll notice some bullet points. So what do you think that is? That's right. That one is the ECR. And we know because it says explain, and it also says write a well-organized informational essay, or it might say composition. And it has all these bullet points to remind us what to include in our writing. And then if we go to the next page, oh, let me show you something cool about the box. Do you notice the box is bigger and easier to write? So if I'm going to restate and answer the question, you'll notice that you can scroll down and it's just much easier than Eduphoria to type in the box. If you get spell check, what you would need to do is highlight and click the spell check button. I'm gonna type a word wrong to show you what it would look like. And then you have to click the button again for it to go away. So let's say I wrote the instead of the, and I would have to click the spell check. Oh, it tells me that word is wrong. And then I pick the correct word and then I turn it off. Okay, so you can either do that at the very end or you can do that after every sentence, but that is if you get spelling assistance. Okay, what else can I show you? Okay, if you click next, then this section, you'll see some revising, combining sentences, just like you did on the checkpoint. So you would highlight those sentences and you would combine those into one sentence in a clear and effective way. So that is a revising short constructed response worth 1 point. So you're going to see there's 4 revising questions. And then another 4 revising questions. Drop down. And then there's going to be some editing questions. And you'll notice when you get to the editing, it will not read you the passage or the questions. Because in this case, you're just looking at sentence 2 and you're just trying to highlight that and look for the mistake. And then you're choosing the correct answer. So the end of this practice test is going to be editing. And then when you get to the end, number 41, it's going to have this button, end test. Now, I'm not going to push that because I'm just practicing. But if you were practicing with your teacher, when your teacher tells you, you would click end test. Okay? Or you would, let's say you want to go back to the questions you didn't do, you could click items and see how it tells you. So that was in that top left corner. It tells you all the questions you didn't answer. And if you flag one, let me show you what that looks like. So let's say I flagged this question number 41 and I click items, it'll show you, oh, you flagged that question. And you can see all the ones you did not answer before you would turn it in. So this is exactly what it's going to look like on STAAR. So after you watch this video, you're going to get a chance to practice using these tools, and then you'll do some questions on this platform. So I hope this video helped you, and let your teacher know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.